Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night time, wherever and whenever you may be watching this. Thanks for clicking on the video. This video right here is going to be an update, just what's going on with me, why there's no consistency at all with my uploads, and also just going to be sampling some fragrances that were sent to me by fellow YouTuber, subscribe to my channel. I think the channel name is something like Evil Dead 2002 or 2012. No, 2002, I think. I'll leave he does on his channel, he's got this banging remix of my favourite band, Enter Shikari. He's done a remix of one of their songs off the new album, so I'll leave a link for that in the channel. Thanks very much, Ben, for sending me the samples. It's much appreciated. Getting into some of these fragrances first. He did send me a list. I did ask, because in the bag they were just labelled 1 to 8. No other mention of what they were, so I messaged him on Instagram and was like, or he messaged me and he said, do you want the list of what they are, or do you want to do sort of a blind sniff sort of thing? I said, you know what, message me the list so I can put it in the video. But I will say, these 8 fragrances, and I can't really even remember the list, I just wanted it so I could put it on the video when I sample them. I'd heard of most of them, but hand on heart, I don't think I've smelled them, and hand on heart, I haven't looked it up in advance, so I'm not aware of the notes in these fragrances, so it is going to be kind of a blind, even though I know what the fragrance is called, it's kind of a blind sniff test. Let's start off with number 1. There's 8 fragrances altogether. The only 2 on that list that I remember are 1 and 8. I remember the bookends. I don't know the other fragrances, you know, what number they are and things, but I know this is Byredo's M/Mink. Byredo is a fragrance that, or Byredo is a house that, as a general rule of thumb, I really like, I really appreciate. I've smelled about 4 or 5 of their offerings. I bought my girlfriend Gypsy Water, and I'm a big fan of Bal de Freak, if that's how you pronounce it, Bay de Freak, and Super Cedar, I really like. And I know that they have a tendency, the thing I like about them is sort of their simplicity, their almost calmness. They're not loud fragrances, but I'm aware that M/Mink is a little bit different. It bucks the trend a bit. I know that people have varying, opinions on it, but instead of waffling on, let's get straight into that. It's very strong. It's a really strong, this isn't like, it does buck the trend. This is very loud and in your face. Immediately, I'm drawn to sort of old powerhouse fragrances like Kouros, again, if that's how it's pronounced, Kouros, like a proper old school 80s or early 90s, I think it was 80s fragrance. Just a powerhouse, quite animalic. I don't mind the smell of it at all, but it's very loud. It's really kind of like what I get when people say fougere kind of fragrance. So I would guess there's things like lavender in this, like some sort of fern, like a, I can't think of like a foresty kind of smell, but it's got that animalic. I think this is going to be a selected taste, if I'm honest. If you like a canful of things by Byredo and then, you think, I'll just go this one because, a couple of them sort of share the same DNA, don't do that. Get a sample of this first, But yeah, I'm mainly getting sort of that old school animalic, Kouros, really loud men's, definitely men's. For me, this would be a particular occasion fragrance. I wouldn't wear this all year round. It's quite loud, maybe it works better in the winter. I'll leave that one to settle, maybe come back to it. Fragrance number 2, again, I cannot remember now what this one was called, but it will be up on the video. This is really nice. This is really nice. So my very, very first thought when the juice came out and I smell it in the air was it reminded me of Guerlain L'Homme Ideal EDP, which is that cherry and leather kind of thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if it had some sort of cherry in there. But now that I smell it more, occasionally in fragrances, and it's not often, I see the note of licorice come up. And this to me, and not always with a fragrance that has licorice do I smell it. It's quite a rare, that you pick it up. But on this, I can smell licorice. I'm not really that good at picking out notes. Just look at my other videos. But I'd be surprised if there's no licorice in here. I would be surprised. I'm going to look it up afterwards. Maybe I'll try and put it in the video if there is, because I'll be impressed with myself. But it does smell of licorice. Maybe my hay fever. I have a touch of hay fever this year. Maybe that's sending me off kilter. But now that I can smell, now that I've picked up on the licorice, that's all I can smell. I'll be honest. This one again, I personally wouldn't wear in the summer. I think this is a more winter fragrance. But I do prefer it to the first fragrance. I do prefer it over the Byredo fragrance. Come back to that one. Fragrance number 3. This immediately to me leans more in the summer sort of aspect, so it's better suited to this time of year. Yeah, it's fresh. It is fresh and spicy. It has got a spicy nature to it. It's interesting. It's not like any other freshie that I own at the moment. Most of the freshies that I've got, I'm really into that sort of properly aquatic, just smells like water, you know, that really natural kind of thing. But this has a fresh, spicy feel to it. This one's hard to describe though. I can't pick out any particular notes. But it is nice. I can't really tell as well if it's designer or if it's more of an indie sort of fragrance. I'll be well curious to know what's in here and who's made this fragrance, because it doesn't ring any bells, doesn't remind me of anything in particular. But it is nice. It's an interesting one. Not daringly interesting, it's just interesting in that it manages to blur that line of fresh and spicy quite well, you know? But that was fragrance number 3. On to the 4th fragrance, and what I may do, guys, is just because I did want to sort of go into, you know, me as a channel and things like this and what's happening, I may just stop the video after the 4th one and then just do another video just with the other 4, so it's not going on too long. But this juice is the darkest juice so far. And some of those other ones were quite strong players, quite loud fragrances, so I am dubious as to what this is going to be like. Okay. Yeah, strong. It is strong. It's really strong. There wasn't that much that came out of this one, and it's, yeah. I'd be highly surprised if this is designer. I'm gonna go either niche or indie. Probably indie on this one. Again, it's so hard to categorize, like say what it's like or liken it to something, but then that gives me the more inkling that it is an indie fragrance, because I can't liken it to anything. Indies tend to be a bit more standalone, you know, they don't tend to sort of like go with the crowd in that sense, or with my experience of indies anyway. The only thing that I can compare this to, if I'm being honest, is, so I'm a postman, and my postal round is really rural, and it's full of fields, Welsh fields, and at the moment, because we're in June and it's summer, they're sort of ploughing the fields, they're doing all that, grass cutting and whatnot, and there's this hay in the fields as well. And hay is a note that I've come across maybe once or twice in other fragrances, and I would guess there's either going to be some sort of vetiver or hay going on in this fragrance. That's just my guess. But yeah, it's not a terrible fragrance. It's not a bad fragrance. I would wear it, but probably go easy on the trigger with it, maybe 1 or 2 sprays. But I'm just getting this sort of hay. Maybe there's some sort of alcohol in there, but it's not. It doesn't smell boozy, which I know sounds silly, but it just has this rich kind of smell. Maybe a whiskey or a rum. Not in a boozy way, just in like a spicy way, like an alcoholic, spicy kind of way. But yeah, I'm a fan of that one as well. I think out of the 4, the first four, my favourite would probably be the third one, because mainly it goes with the setting what we have now. That's a key thing to mention. That the fourth one that I've just tried, I said it reminded me of hay and like cut grass and vetiver. It's not a summer fragrance. That one again is definitely a winter fragrance. I couldn't imagine. It's eased down a bit now, but I couldn't imagine wearing that in hot heat. But yeah, the third fragrance, that's probably my favourite out of the four so far. Once again, thanks very much, Evil Dead 2002, Ben, for sending me these samples. I will do another video with the other four. Just to quickly go into, like I said, this channel, Nose Candy Fragrances. I think it's a bit of a weird one for me, YouTube and things like that, because, you know, as a person, I have a tendency to get into things and sort of go fully fledged into it. You know, I spend a lot of money on it and things like that, and I'm really into it. And then in the space of a day, I can just not want to do anything with it. And I do enjoy making videos, I always have. But at the moment, I've got this thing going on where I'm slowly getting more and more into photography. And I've got, in the month of July, for the first time ever, I'm actually selling my photos in a gallery in town, which is super exciting. But it does mean that I've had to spend time editing photos a bit more and, you know, framing them, sizing them, things like that, spending a bit more time on that. And as a result, YouTube has taken a second seat. But hopefully in July, when it's all done, or they're up in the gallery, so I don't have to work anymore on it, just hopefully make some money off them, possibly. I don't know. Hopefully then I can focus more on YouTube. And that's another thing with making videos. I kind of always dream or always hope to make these super elaborate, cool, crisp looking videos. And at the moment, everything you've seen on my YouTube channel has just been done on the iPhone 7 that I'm recording on now. So everything is edited on the phone, everything is shot on the phone, and everything is released on the phone. And as a result, some of it doesn't look as crisp as I would like. So hopefully going forward, I'm going to be using my proper Canon camera, hopefully be looking to buy a mic for it, and things like that going forward, maybe a flashlight as well, just so I can make some videos in the night time, because I finish work quite late, 6, 7 o'clock sometimes I come back home, so that'd be a cool add-on as well. But it's something that I am passionate about. It's just because of the photography, it's taken a bit of a back burner, but I do enjoy making videos, and I do hope to make more on a constant basis. If you enjoy watching them, let me know in the comments below. It means a lot to me. And if there's anything you'd like to see or any advice you can give me, feel free to whack that down there as well. See you in the next one, guys. Cheers.